What is going on, everyone, and welcome to episode 8 in the Blabbermouth Sister-in-Law series. Now, to re-jog your memory about the end of last episode, the last post in that one was pretty unbelievable, to be fair. OP's mother-in-law, after OP and her husband said, "You've got to go to therapy," she actually went. And she seemed to be getting real positives from it and actually enjoying it. The first story in this episode is an update on that. Who knows? Is she still going to therapy or not? Leave your comments right now. What do you reckon? But the main bulk of this episode is getting into the trial, which has now started or will start as this episode progresses. Once again, if you have no idea what I'm talking about or you haven't seen any of the previous episodes, this is episode 8. You need to go and watch all the other ones and listen to them before this one. Link is down below. There's a playlist. Just click on it in the description and the pinned comment, and all the episodes are there in order. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, click that. But assuming you do, sit back, relax. Let's get into episode 8. And also, of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and turn notifications on so you know when episode 9 goes live. Mother-in-law continues with therapy, asks us to join. Spawn of Blabbermouth makes 2 new friends. Hello Redditors, it's been a month and I would like to give you an update on the current status quo. This was posted in August of 2022, guys. Firstly, an update on my own health. I'm healing quite well. I'm home now and the doctors are pleased with my recovery. I can walk longer distances and work from home. I don't work to my fullest capacity, but I'm grateful that I can do some things again. So, on to the update. To my utter surprise, mother-in-law continues with therapy. She goes once, sometimes twice a week, and according to my father-in-law, has been making quite the progress. My mother-in-law has asked us to go to one or multiple sessions with her. It was her own idea. She wanted us to talk about it, but in the confines of the therapy room, as she feels like the therapist is unbiased. Alright, you scored another point for yourself in my still suspicious eyes. My husband and I talked about it, between ourselves and with our own therapist. We made a list. What did we want to talk about and what not? In we went. And it went quite well. The therapist started, explained why we were asked. We could say what we thought, and my mother-in-law told them that she understood. More/better/finally, our standpoint. She'd written down some examples that my husband had used. She'd had a talk with my father-in-law and even other family members about situations in which she blatantly favoured Blabbermouth. To keep it short, she explained why she felt how she felt. She understands that she should have done things differently, and she's sorry if she took Blabbermouth's side too much. She said she felt that Blabbermouth was like her in some ways, not the entitled ways, and therefore she just couldn't help herself. Okay. My husband and I just absorbed what she said. I simply asked what made her see it this way. Some uncomfortable moving from her side while asking what I meant. I asked the therapist if I could be honest, blunt to a point. I could, to a point. I told her that if things got difficult and or when she wants things to stop happening, she starts ignoring what happens. Like an ostrich, head in the sand, hoping it all just blows over. Going to therapy and basically digging up every little dirty thing was difficult, so what made her go against that tactic of hers? She looked me in the eye and said, "The therapist made me see you and my son as kind people who love their family to a fault, allowing a lot, maybe too much. That you love me. I ruined so much by my actions. My husband said the same. Aunts and uncles said the same, even the ones who hurt you. The fact that my own son, you, and the children didn't want any contact with me was the wake-up call. I know what I did was stupid, but I really had the feeling you blamed me for everything that happened and what was still going on." I asked if I could speak on my own behalf. I told her that I didn't blame her for what was going on. I didn't blame her for the things that my entitled cousin or Blabbermouth did. Those were their choices, not hers. She had nothing to do with any of it directly. However, by giving in so much in childhood, adolescence, and adulthood, Blabbermouth got accustomed to getting her way and expecting others to give her what she wanted. If she didn't, she would manipulate to get her way. What felt like a knife through our hearts was that I was attacked and in danger. Our children were in some danger. And then she kept asking for pity and mercy for Blabbermouth, condoning her actions, not looking or not wanting to see what she was doing to us. That went too far. That hurt too much. We understand she loves her daughter, but it was her selective blindness, the condoning, excusing, that hurt the most. I repeated what I've said before. Love her as you want. I cannot and won't tell you who to love or not, but look at the actions of a person, the facts of them. She hurts us, your son, me, and your grandchildren. We also matter. My husband said he agreed and added his own feelings as well. She started crying, saying she was sorry. She simply didn't or couldn't believe that one child was hurting her other one. It ended there with a new appointment for a couple of weeks from now, summer holiday for the therapist. I think it's a good start. To be continued. No contact will continue outside of the sessions. In the meantime, we've also had to deal with SOB, Spawn of Blabbermouth. Last time he tried to intimidate my eldest and, by doing so, lost access to his college fund. The grapevine, his elder siblings, told me that his father, my brother-in-law of course, shouted at him for his stupidity, as he'd clearly been warned not to do anything against any of us. We were still willing to let him use the funds for his education, but he had to stay out of the situation. Now, interestingly, OP here has changed the name of the person I was calling Apple into SOB, Spawn of Blabbermouth, and I kind of want to keep calling him Apple, so I'm going to do that. You all know who Apple was and is from the past posts, so let's go with Apple. Anyway, my brother-in-law and Blabbermouth were told that very, very clearly, the fact that we were still letting him use the funds for his education, but he had to stay out of the situation, thanks to our lawyer, and they made sure that Apple knew. Well, he wasn't pleased about getting yelled at by his father and mother during a visit. He didn't like that whatever funds his parents had were now going to lawyer fees. He didn't like that his two oldest siblings gave him a firm and resounding screw you, no, after he demanded they pay for his college. His reasoning, since they had jobs, they should help him out. He didn't like that both sets of grandparents weren't helping out either. He didn't like that he wasn't getting support or pity from anyone. He certainly didn't like that when he asked our aunts and uncles for money, whining fell on deaf ears, and he was told, this is a lesson you need to learn. Poor Apple. A lot of things happened he didn't like. And in true Blabbermouth fashion, he blamed our family. So what does the idiot do? Well, he came to our house. Just like my entitled cousin, family stupidity, I think, he climbed over our fence. Unfortunately for him, Frou-Frou and LeFou were waiting in the backyard out of sight. Our neighbours and us were at some elderly neighbours a couple of houses down. The lady's a bit scared of dogs, so we left ours at home. We were sitting in their yard chatting when we heard the screams and barks. I can't really run, so I checked our home cameras. Lo and behold, Apple is crouching on the same table my entitled cousin was when he had to flee from 100 pounds of protective muscle, fat and sweetness, aka Frou-Frou. Now, Apple got the honour and pleasure of meeting Frou-Frou and LeFou at the same time. He was not happy. The blue-clothed lads and ladies, armed with shiny and not-so-shiny accessories, showed up and took him away. We don't think he can be legally charged with anything more than trespassing, but beggars can't be choosers. According to our inside informants, my brother-in-law wasn't happy. Apple was picked up from the station, got tore some brand new holes, had his games consoles, iPad and everything non-essential taken by his father. He now has limited laptop access, school only, and he's been grounded. He's sulking a lot. When he started crying to one of his brothers, he got told it's his own fault and that he was stupid. He certainly isn't getting pity from anyone. Why is Apple so entitled? Well, Blabbermouth coddled him, and that had more effect than when his father tried to set him straight. We do hope that being away from the influence of evil, his mother, might set him straight. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Also, our court date is getting closer. As of now, it's scheduled for the end of October if there aren't any delays. I'll update again after that. Okay, well, first of all, fantastic news about your mother-in-law. Maybe I was a little bit harsh on her at the end of the last post, although I'm still not really sure about that. I still think some of the things that she's done are ridiculous, but yeah, the more she explains it and the more you guys talk about what's been said in therapy and how she's saying, I just couldn't actually quite believe what was happening. And there's no way that one of my kids would be attacking one of the other ones and hurting them this much. I do sort of see it from her perspective, but I still think you got to snap out of that and be like, okay, what's actually going on here? Let's actually help and not condone the actions of one of my kids who is literally going to prison for what they're doing. Now moving on to SOB, Apple, as I'm still going to call him. Yeah, ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. He's just throwing his toys out the pram. It's pretty ridiculous how all your families seem to be doing similar sort of things. Just not happy? Fine, I'm going to come and trespass then. Doesn't really work, but yeah, interesting tactics. All right, now for the next post. This one is an update on Wonder Woman, the story of how my entitled cousin got hit by the karma train driven by his now ex-wife. Some people have asked me for an update on Wonder Woman, the now ex-wife of my entitled cousin. She is doing amazing. She sold the house and the car that were in her name. She moved away to a place she's unwilling to share. She has a PO box somewhere, and we see each other whenever we can. In the beginning, she looked so drained and scared, but now, wow, she looks amazing. The kids are doing great, she has a job she truly enjoys, and her parents help with childcare when they can. Her ex-father-in-law, the father of my entitled cousin, does get to see the grandchildren, but without Coddle Mum, her ex-mother-in-law. What I didn't know is that Coddle Mum tried to get custody of the children by involving Child Protective Services with false accusations. She got a slap on the wrist. In response, her husband told her not to do anything stupid or he'd divorce her. Since they have a prenup, she'd be left with a lot less. Still comfortable, but not what she's used to. Coddle Mum loves to brag about her status, so divorce is not something she wants. It took a while, but slowly, Wonder Woman told family members and friends what her ex-husband, my entitled cousin, had been doing. He never hit her. No physical or sexual abuse, but there was plenty of emotional and financial abuse. I won't share the details, as Wonder Woman asked me not to, but she is dealing with it as best she can. Like us, she and her parents, friends and relatives are somewhat afraid of what might happen if my entitled cousin gets out of jail. She's got a good lawyer, and like us, they're busy putting protective measures in place. This is my entitled cousin we're dealing with. He's stupid. We're low-key placing bets on how long it would take before he shows up somewhere he shouldn't. So a small but nice update. I'm glad she's doing better. Yeah, so am I. That is great to hear. Okay, now moving on to our next post. Here we go. Trial has started. An update on us, and Coddle Mum just had to prove she's an idiot. The trials have started. I can't say anything about what's being discussed until it's all over and done with. Yeah, I didn't think about that, but I suppose that makes sense. But what I can tell you is this. My entitled cousin Anne Blabbermouth looked extremely nervous, yet somehow still confident, almost arrogant, on the first day. My husband and I haven't gone back since. I have work that needs doing, and he's struggling to see his own family sitting in the stands. To be honest, we also just have no desire to sit in a courtroom staring at the people who caused us so much pain. Our victim statements are in the file, and they'll be read out at the appropriate time. Our lawyer keeps us updated, as do some of my friends and parents, who decided completely on their own to attend as often as they can. I told them it wasn't necessary, especially since they're elderly. But my mother just gave me a look, and my dad, not a man of many words, simply said, "In our time of need, you and your brother are there for us. Now we're doing what we should do as parents, being there for you both in your time of need. Besides, I want to see what kind of people they are with my own eyes." My friends echoed that. They said I was there for their highs and lows, and now it's their turn. The more devilish among them are mostly going just to see how deep a hole my entitled cousin and Blabbermouth dig for themselves. I love these people. My husband is not doing so well. This trial is a painful reminder that it was his own sister and cousin who tried to hurt his wife and take his children. Anger and sadness are battling it out inside of him. The children are nervous too. We've kept them informed, and our lawyer has done a great job giving them an unbiased, age-appropriate explanation of the proceedings. My eldest especially wants all the details. He's very into understanding how things work. But beyond curiosity, they're scared. All this time, entitled cousin and Blabbermouth were locked up, out of reach. Now they understand that a verdict is coming and that there's a chance, however small, that they might walk free. We've increased therapist visits to once a week in person and once online. Our neighbours have been dropping by more, bringing Frou with them. And LeFou being with us has helped tremendously. Nothing soothes nerves like big, goofy dogs handing out hugs and slobbery kisses, then turning protective the moment they sense tension. As for my mother-in-law, things with her have improved a little. But now that her daughter's trial has started, she's hitting a crossroads. She's restarted her whole, "oh, my poor daughter" routine. She's not said anything about pity or mercy, so that's something. Coddle Mum, however, is on another level of delusional. She showed up on our doorstep the day before the trial started. We saw her on the doorbell camera. and our neighbor, who happened to be walking through, noticed her and asked if she needed help. Bless that man. He made sure to keep her directly in front of the camera the whole time. She asked, rudely, who he was. When he said he lived in the neighborhood, she claimed she was there on an urgent legal matter. Her urgent legal matter? She was there to threaten us with legal action if we didn't stop the court proceedings. Apparently, entitled cousin was provoked by my actions and acted in self-defense. Therefore, in her mind, none of this needs to happen and we should drop the charges. And if we didn't, she'd contact Child Protective Services and accuse us of harming our kids and also file defamation charges. My neighbor just laughed. Honestly, what else do you do with that level of ridiculous? He calmly told her that's not how the legal system works, and she had just admitted on camera to attempted blackmail via false accusations. She doubled down, of course, claimed we were lying, claimed I should have done as I was told, because clearly my husband and I being united in our refusal to be treated like a walking ATM is beyond her comprehension. He told her to get therapy, get lost, and prepare for the no contact order that's likely heading her way. So, you can guess who's been keeping my lawyer extra busy this week. Side note, yes, we're aware that CPS can be called by vindictive family members. No, we're not worried. We've been working with them already, since entitled cousin tried to break into our home, and again after what happened with the attempted abduction. We were assessed like any other family in that situation, and deemed fit parents, thankfully. That is the update for now. I'll post again as things progress. Now that was posted in October of 2022. This following post is from December of 2022. So we're jumping quite a bit from when the trial started now. How's it going with the rest of the family? A lot of people are asking me about the trial. My lawyer has advised though not to post anything about it on social media, so I won't, not until I can. What I can talk about is how things are going with the rest of the family. Quick recap on the whole story. Blabbermouth ran her mouth to my husband's aunts, uncles and cousins. They started harassing us, demanding money. One uncle slapped me in the face. He got dubbed Little Love Tap Uncle. He also got to meet a judge. Several relatives received a lovely piece of paper that screamed no contact, and surprisingly enough, they've respected it. We've not heard from them since. The no contact orders weren't renewed. There was no legal reason to. Slowly, we've started reconnecting. We've attended a few socially distanced birthday parties. It's been awkward, well at first, but manageable. At the first gathering after COVID restrictions were lifted, Love Tap Uncle came up to me and asked if he could say something. My husband and the kids stayed close for obvious reasons. He apologized profusely and said that if I didn't want anything to do with him, he'd understand. He started explaining himself, and it sounded sincere at first. But when he tried shifting the blame to Blabbermouth and me, I let him have it. I told him, no, it was your doing that you never picked up the phone to talk to us. It was your doing that you drove to my home and waited for me. It was your doing that you screamed, yelled insults and slapped me. Your greed drove that, not Blabbermouth, not me. You found out we had money and you wanted it. You're an adult. Take responsibility. You could have made different choices. Don't blame your greed on anyone else. He went quiet and actually said I was right. A lot of them now say they understand why we didn't tell anyone we had money. It wasn't that we didn't want to help. It's that we didn't want to be seen as an ATM people could withdraw from whenever they felt like it. Some of them have actually become interested in investing. I've been talking with a few about budgeting too, something I'm good at from our early days of struggling. We keep conversations light. I'm still wary and they know that. Will things go back to how they were? No, I don't have that illusion anymore. They show respect, but they also know my husband and I won't hesitate to throw the law book at them if they step out of line. We still think some of them might be trying to get on our good side for money, not that it will work. We're not starting any more college funds for relatives. That ship has sailed. One cousin did ask for a certified loan. When we asked for details, we got a shady story, so we said no. He sulked, but that was it. I think he remembered what happened to others who pushed too hard. My own relatives have been harassing my parents and brother too. Once I found out, I sent a letter that made it very clear they needed to stop. The entitled ones have backed off since. They still make snide remarks now and then, but honestly, pick your battles. My parents hounded them like pros, and my brother, he's tall, strong, and has a take no trash attitude. They don't dare mess with him. I paid for some security upgrades at my parents' house. There are two reasons. One, I don't want history repeating itself. If any of my cousins decide to pull a blabbermouth/entitled cousin combo, I want it all caught on tape. And 2, my parents are getting older, and there have been some local break-ins targeting elderly people. If anything like that happens, I want a clear shot of whoever it is, so Frou-Frou and LeFou can chase them into a holding cell. My brother doesn't need any upgrades, he's already got measures in place. He was also grateful when our lawyer sent a few warning letters to the worst offenders. Our relationship has changed. My brother and sister-in-law always knew we were doing well, but after everything came to light, they realised the full extent. They're happy for us, but now, whenever we go out together as a family, they always try to pay for something. My brother told me he's grateful for the help we gave him, but he never wants us to feel used. It makes things a bit awkward sometimes, especially if we say it's our treat because it's a birthday or something. Still, after everything we've been through, that kind of gesture feels really, really good. I actually thought that was going to go the other way for a second, so I'm very happy to hear that. Anyway, that is the update on the family. Life has sort of returned to normal. The kids still get nervous sometimes. My husband has good days and bad ones. I've got no current health concerns, just a few meds and some physical therapy, but the dog walks have helped a lot. Well, that is good news, and that takes us up to December 2022, almost moving into 2023. I suppose it's a little bit of a shame that OP can't really disclose any of the details of the trial. We'll have to wait and see if we do get some of those in the next few posts. I really hope we do. But yeah, it feels as if, I'm being a little bit cautious in saying this, but right now, maybe everyone's moving on a bit. Maybe we're getting towards the conclusion of this story. Maybe it's going to sort of chill out and just peter out into nothingness, and everyone can move past this weird time in their lives. I mean, COVID was pretty weird anyway. Having this going on at the same time, brutal. But anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this one. Really hope you enjoyed it. As I said, if you're still watching or listening right now and you haven't already subscribed with notifications on, do it. Just do it. It makes sense. Do you want to know when episode 9 gets released like that? Do it. If not, at least check this playlist out if you've missed an episode. It's on screen right there. And I'll catch you in episode 9.